welcome to the Once Again podcast. We are your hosts, Ashley and Jason. In this episode, we'll be looking at the 1988 film, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Which, a little bit of trivia to dive into, because it was bothering me that there was no question mark at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out, in Hollywood, it's a superstition to put a question mark in the title of your movie.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
Yeah, they wouldn't put a question mark in it for some reason.
Well, I'm putting a question mark always, because them.
Alright, question marks going in ours. In this series, we won't be doing a deep analysis of the film or giving a bunch of behind-the-scenes facts, but rather giving our impressions of the overall film and the songs from the film. We'll also be giving a score to the film and ranking the songs, so grab some popcorn, sit back, and enjoy this episode.
Wow, no fun things.
No, I didn't. I put these notes together very late, and I don't know, what do you want? So, avoid the dip.
Avoid the dip.
Have your overhyped wife, who's not really that attractive, but for some reason people think that she is, sleep with, or play patty cake with a bunch of random men.
Play patty cake with a hot woman?
Yeah, and enjoy this episode, I don't know.
So grab some popcorn, play some patty cake with a hot woman, and enjoy this episode.
I don't get it. I really don't.
I don't either,
Like,
but I'm gonna say it.
And I've seen, like, cosplayers dress up as Jessica Rabbit and stuff, and I'm like, no, I still don't like a real-world woman who I do find attractive dressed up as Jessica Rabbit does nothing for me. Like, whatever, to each their own. But Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a 1988 American live-action animated comedy mystery film loosely adapted from Gary K. Wolfe's 1981 novel, Who Censored Roger Rabbit?
I want to read that. That's what I got out of research and what I was doing for this podcast. I want to read that.
Maybe that'll be our next book that we cover or something.
I feel like we have like 3 books we gotta cover. We're getting...
The Chronicles of Prydain, that I think that's going to come at some point.
I think White Sargasso Sea needs
White Sargasso Sea is most likely going to show up, yeah. Set in a 1947 version of Hollywood, where cartoon characters, commonly referred to as toons, and people coexist, the film follows Eddie Valiant, a private investigator who must help exonerate Roger Rabbit, a toon who has been framed for the murder of Acme Corporation's owner. Walt Disney Pictures purchased the rights to the film story in 1981. While filming, the production budget began to rapidly expand, and the shooting schedule ran longer than expected. Michael Eisner, boo. No.
Whoa,
I do that every time.
Whoa.
I boo whoever the CEO of Disney is every time.
Whoa. We're not booing Michael Eisner.
No, we do like Michael Eisner.
We do not boo Michael Eisner on this podcast.
Yeah.
He is wonderful.
Yeah, except that time that he didn't pay, what was it, Peggy Lee? The money
Something like that.
Yeah.
Except that.
Yeah, there you get the boo, Michael. But Michael Eisner, then CEO, and Roy E. Disney, vice chairman of the Walt Disney Company, felt the film was too risque with adult themes and sexual references. Eisner and film director Robert Zemeckis disagreed over various elements of it, but Zemeckis had final cut privilege, and he refused to make alterations. And good for him on doing that.
Good.
Yeah, Roy E. Disney, head of feature animation, along with the studio chief Jeffrey Katzenberg, felt it was inappropriate to release the film under the studio's... felt it was appropriate to release the film under the studio's adult-oriented Touchstone Pictures banner instead of the flagship Walt Disney Pictures banner. The film opened in the United States on June 22nd, 1988, grossing just over $11 million, because I'm not going to say everything that's there, or roughly $29 million today, in 1,045 theaters during its opening weekend, ranking first place at the U.S. box office. It was Disney's biggest opening weekend ever at the time of its release. Who Framed Roger Rabbit had a budget of $50.6 million, or $127.4 million today, and grossed over $351.5 million worldwide, or $885.4 million today, becoming the second highest grossing film of 1988, behind only Rain Man. At the time of its release, it was the 20th highest grossing film of all time. It received acclaim from critics who praised its visual, humor, writing, and performances, with critics and audiences considering it to be groundbreaking. It also brought a renewed interest in the golden age of American animation, spearheading modern American animation and the Disney Renaissance. Who Framed Roger Rabbit won 3 Academy Awards for Best Film Editing, Best Sound Effects Editing, and Best Visual Effects, and received a Special Achievement Academy Award for the animation direction by Williams. The film was released on VHS on October 12, 1989, and DVD on September 28th. Hey! 1999. What a good day September 28th is. On March 25th, 2003, Buena Vista Home Entertainment released it as part of the Vista series line in a 2-disc collection with many extra features, including a documentary, Behind the Ears, The True Story of Roger Rabbit, a deleted scene in which a pig's head is tuned onto Eddie's, the 3 Roger Rabbit shorts, Tummy Trouble, Roller Coaster Rabbit, and Trail Mix-Up, as well as a booklet and interactive games. The only short on the 2003 VHS release was Tummy Trouble. The 2003 DVD release presents the film in its full screen on Disc 1 and widescreen on Disc 2. On March 12, 2013, the film was released on Blu-ray and DVD Combo Special Edition for the film's 25th anniversary. The film was also digitally restored for the release. Frame-by-frame digital restoration was done by Parsad Studios, removing dirt, tears, scratches, and other defects. Walt Disney Studio Home Entertainment released the film on Ultra HD Blu-ray on December 7th, 2021. In 2016, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. Over the past 35 years, Zemeckis, Spielberg, and others involved in the film have mentioned that a sequel or prequel has been in various stages of development. However, in a 2018 interview with Yahoo Movies, Zemeckis said that while the sequel script is wonderful, Disney is still unlikely to ever produce it, saying the current corporate Disney culture has no interest in Roger, and they certainly don't like Jessica at all. He further went on to say that he would not see the possibility of producing it as an original film for Disney Plus, as he feels it does not make any sense as there is no princess in it. The 2002 film Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers was created as a spiritual successor to Roger Rabbit through combining several different animation techniques that have come about since Roger Rabbit. Roger appears in a cameo in that film.
And if you want to know our thoughts on that, definitely go check out our podcast episode on that.
We didn't do Chip 'n Dale.
I think we did. Pretty sure we did. I think we did, Jason.
I'm pretty sure.
We could take that out if we didn't, but I thought we did.
I'm pretty sure I've never watched Chip 'n Dale.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure you did. Didn't we watch it because I told you to watch it? I feel like we did. I can pull
up our list of
we
things
should,
that
we should, because I feel like we did. I don't know anymore.
I don't remember.
I feel like we did, though.
But if we didn't, we will.
I feel like we did, though.
Okay, maybe we did. I don't remember.
I don't know.
Damn COVID shot. Taking away my brain.
Damn COVID shot.
No, I don't think we ever did.
I feel like we did, but...
Are you doing another podcast with someone else that you haven't told me about?
Oh my god, no.
Is this where the truth comes out? Are you podcast shopping around?
No.
I'm so hurt.
I feel like we did, though.
I don't think.
Unless we just talked about it a lot in one of our episodes, like, unrelated to that, because I feel like we did talk about it a whole bunch at some point, like mid-episode or something then.
I'm quite certain I didn't watch that yet. Because it was written by the guys from The Lonely Island, who I'm big fans of, but I don't think I've watched it yet.
We did. I'm not seeing it, though, but maybe I thought we did. Or, like, we meant to. Who knows? Because I remember being like, we should do this.
Are you and Ashley from a parallel universe? Did you slide into this one?
Maybe I did. That would explain a lot of things.
You're the Mandela, Ashley.
I'm the Mandela.
Yeah.
No, I think we definitely talked about it during something, though.
Well...
Like, maybe not as its own episode, but I think we like definitely brought it up while we were talking about something else.
Probably. Because now you're getting me confused. Because I was about to say I think we did an episode on Space Jam, but we definitely didn't do that.
No, we definitely didn't do that.
But I remember because they came out relatively maybe like 6 months apart or something, maybe a year apart or whatever. The what's his name? LeBron James Space Jam I'm talking about. Because like I remember people were praising Chip and Dale and saying how awful Space Jam was. Maybe we talked about that. I can't remember. But anyway,
we definitely talked about it a little bit, but I don't know.
I
don't know what episode that would have been. Like what brought it up as a thing.
I am interested to watch it though because there's like cameos in it and stuff that
It's definitely good. I'm gonna write it down as a.
All right. Well, we're going to cover it at some point.
Yes.
Maybe relatively soon. Maybe, 2 or 3 episodes from now we'll cover it or something before we dive back into other material.
Directed by Robert Zemeckis. Screenplay by Jeffrey Price and Peter S. Seaman. Based on Who Censored Roger Rabbit by Gary K. Wolfe. Produced by Frank Marshall and Robert Watts. Executive producer Steven Spielberg. Edited by Arthur Schmidt. Cinematography by Dean Cundy. Music by Alan Silvestri. Production companies are Touchstone Pictures, Amblin Entertainment, Silver Screen Partners. Distributed by Buena Vista Pictures Distribution. The runtime is 104 minutes. Starring Bob Hoskins as Eddie Valiant, Christopher Lloyd as Judge Doom, with Corey Britton as Doom's toon voice, Charles Fleischer as Roger Rabbit, Benny the Cab, Greasy, and Psycho, Stubby K as Marvin Acme, Joanna Cassidy as Dolores, Kathleen Turner as Jessica Rabbit, Amy Irving provides Jessica Rabbit's singing voice, Mel Blanc as Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Tweety Bird, and Sylvester the Cat.
Very nicely done. So how do you want to do it the same way like we did the last?
Yeah, I think that worked well.
All right, we'll recap it that way then. So we're in 1947 Hollywood, and we have a world where cartoon... Well, actually, I guess I should start by saying we start off in a cartoon short. Like that's how... And I've seen clips of this movie over the years, but I never watched it from beginning to end.
Really?
Yeah. So for me, I thought, oh, how cute. We're going to get a cartoon short of Roger Rabbit before, like, going back to, like, an old style where you used to see But it does sort of do that, but then we go right into the movie. Like, it's like they're filming this cartoon short, which I have a feeling that this Baby Herman cartoon was a Disney commentary on Looney Tunes, because it's so violent.
It is.
Like, it's way more violent than anything Disney does. It's way more violent than anything the Looney Tunes did, quite frankly.
Yeah, but I think that's why, I think that's why Disney was kind of like on the fence about like, this is a little too much and too adult, but I think that's also the point, is to be like, what would adult Looney Tunes kind of look like, even if it's not quite adult Looney Tunes? Like, this is not an animated film for children, by any means. No,
and which a fun fact about this was that Warner Brothers agreed to let them use those characters under 2 conditions. The first condition was that they had to have equal screen time, which Disney came up with, like putting Roger Rabbit, putting Bugs Bunny with Mickey Mouse, putting Daffy Duck with Donald Duck. Like they
have to be same screen amount time.
Yeah, they were like, okay, same. And the second condition was that Warner Brothers insisted on, this came out in '88. They insisted on using the '88 designs for the characters, and Disney wanted to use the 1940s designs. So, everyone talks about how much time was spent animating this. No one ever talks about the fact that Disney animators drew 2 versions of this movie. The one they sent to Warner Brothers Studios with the '88 designs, saying, yeah, this is what it looks like. And the one that they actually released had the 1940s designs. So, like, they pulled the wool over Warner. And once the movie was out, it was like, well, it's out now. There's nothing we can do about it. But, like, I just think it's funny that they're like, yeah, we're using the modern day designs. Don't worry. Here, look. It looks great. Oh, okay. All right, cool. It looks great. And then Disney was like, hee. like we're using the old designs. Hee.
Excellent.
Yeah, Mr. Burns. But it's a very interesting way to reveal this world, I feel like, because it shows off, okay, we're watching this cartoon short before anything, but it's like, nope, this is the actual world. Cartoons can do these ridiculous things and survive. And the director of this short gets mad at Roger because he makes bells go around his head instead of stars or whatever. Yep. Ridiculous, but still, like, it's whatever.
Roger's making a poor choice, okay?
Yeah. And Eddie Valiant, our protagonist, gets hired by, I forget the character's name now, but the Marvin Acme. He gets hired by him to investigate what's going on with Jessica Rabbit, Roger's wife. He thinks that she's having an affair and it's distracting Roger and blah, blah, blah. So he goes to this nightclub. Eddie goes to this nightclub to see Jessica Rabbit. He runs into Betty Boop there, which was cute to see Betty Boop cameo. And then sees Jessica Rabbit, which Bob Hopkins had no idea what he was looking at. They told him, just imagine the most beautiful woman that you've ever seen. I guess the most beautiful woman in the animators' minds doesn't have a nose. but listen, I don't get it. Like, I really don't. Like, if you find Jessica Rabbit sexually attractive, good for you. Not for me. And
that the furries, Jason. You're not a furry.
But she's a human. It's not that I can't find an image pleasing. Like a cartoon image. Like, I think Esmeralda.
I feel she's just very wavy and has no, like, actual, like, points of, how to put it. Like, she doesn't have dimension at all as a character. She's just wavy and, like, the correct silhouette, but, like, just the silhouette. Like, there's no features on that silhouette. She's just the silhouette.
Well, we covered Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Mm-hmm. And Jessica Rabbit, I actually looked to see if Bruce Timm designed her. He didn't. He has drawn her several times since. Mm-hmm. But she does kind of remind me of a Bruce Timm, the head animator of Batman the Animated Series, design. Which some of the, Poison Ivy, hot. Harley Quinn, hot. Sure, whatever. Like, it's not that I couldn't find a cartoon. Like, I'm not one of these people, oh, it's a cartoon, that's not a pleasing. No. Like, I think Esmeralda from Hunchback of Notre Dame's
like cute. I said, I think it's because she doesn't have discernible features, really. Like, she's just wavy lines meant to look like a silhouette, but, like, beyond that has no features of that silhouette. Like, you're not like, look at her ass. Like, you're not seeing anything. But when you're seeing characters like Poison Ivy, there's enough skin and enough, like, stuff going on that they still have, it's more than a silhouette. It's like,
I don't know, we're spending more time on this.
Okay,
we're probably going to talk about Jessica Rabbit and how hot or not she is throughout the film a lot of times, but so anyway, Eddie Valiant's like, oh my god, I can't believe that she's married to a rabbit. Oh, she's so hot. Oh. And what's his name, the head of Acme, goes back to see her, and they play patty cake together. And which clearly, we know what they're actually doing, or what they're supposed to be doing. It's not the noises that they're making and how excited that they are. It's not really patty cake, folks, but the
they're
photo.
Playing patty cake.
Yeah. He's patting that cake, all right.
Oh my god, stop. You're killing me slowly.
Sorry. But so Eddie takes some photos of it.
Oh, that's fake.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. I'll make it quieter. Eddie takes some photos, takes it back to the guy that hired him. And he's like, oh, look at this. And Roger sees the photos and he's devastated. He's like, oh no, she played patty cake with someone else.
Man.
Yeah. Runs out of the room. And Eddie's like, all right, well, cool, I got paid. I'm going home now. And he falls asleep drunk at his desk, which, beautiful piece of storytelling. And this is Robert Zemeckis, because he does the same thing in the Back to the Future movies. Shows us Eddie's brother's desk that's empty there, with, like, the photos of them and everything. And we get, like, we know that Eddie's brother was killed by a toon, and that's why he doesn't like toons. But we get, like, so much story, like, that Eddie at one time was happy and wasn't an alcoholic and wasn't jaded and everything. And when his brother died, he lost all that. But a beautiful piece of storytelling. Eddie gets woken up the next day by his old lieutenant, I guess, who says, oh yeah, Roger Rabbit killed that guy, blah, blah, blah. We need you to find him. And he's like, oh, okay, whatever, I'll go find him. So he goes back and to the movie studio, and he meets Judge Doom there, played by Christopher Lloyd. Totally not creepy or anything, just a regular guy who... He's the judge of, like, the toons, or they don't really explain it that well, but he kills a shoe. He developed this new dip thing that kills cartoons, and he just gets to kill the shoe because the shoe was by him. Like, it annoyed him, I guess.
Yeah, he's a terrifying character.
Yeah, but it's also like, oh, this guy who has no regard for life, because these toons are sentient.
Yeah.
Like, they're living things.
Yes.
And he just gets to, like, no one's like, oh yeah, this guy who just murdered a cartoon in front of us, totally not suspicious at all, like, because the cartoon annoyed him. But anyway, Eddie goes back to his house, or his home, and he runs into baby Herman there, who makes a very inappropriate joke, but I found hilarious, about having a 50-year-old brain, but only a 3-year-old dinky. I cracked up, or a 3-month-old dinky, whatever it was, I cracked up at it. And I personally, I think Herman was hiding Roger Rabbit, and then was like, I gotta ditch this. Like, I can't take, like, his antics anymore, so he ditches Roger Rabbit there. And Roger's in Eddie's office, and Eddie discovers this by going to sleep, and Roger's in the bed with them. Antics ensue. They get handcuffed together. These weasels that work for Judge Doom show up.
I hate the weasels.
You know, there were...
Man, I hate weasels in every movie. Weasels just look creepy. They look shifty. I don't like them.
There were only 5 of them in the film. Originally, there were going to be 7, and they were going to be a parody of the 7 Dwarves. Yeah,
I love that.
I was like, oh, I wish they had done that. Like, that's one of the things that I get disappointed when I read, like, behind, because I enjoyed it as it was, but like when I read behind the facts, although I don't know if I would have gotten it, because like they're weasels, they're not like. But if it was the 7, I think they should have just used the 7 Dwarves. That would have been great. Like,
oh my god, that would have been great.
But anyway,
they would never. But
yeah, so they search Eddie's apartment. Eddie's hiding Roger in his sink, washing his dirty clothes while he's doing it. The weasels eventually leave, and Eddie's like, we gotta get these handcuffs off of us. Let me take you to the bar that my on-again girlfriend works at, and she'll be able to help us. Because I guess he doesn't have any tools at home or the keys to his because they're his handcuffs. But he doesn't have the keys to them.
Well, he was doing some hanky-panky with the girl at the bar, so she has the keys.
Oh, I didn't put that together. Okay, she would have the keys. They're her handcuffs. Okay, all right, I get it. I just figured because he was a detective that they're his handcuffs. But no. I like the way that you're filling in gaps that were there for me. They get there and they hide Roger in the back with Eddie because it turns out the bar pulled over from being a speakeasy in the 1920s when alcohol was illegal in the United States. And the weasels show up there because they followed Eddie. They were just like, yeah, he definitely has them, and we're going to follow him. And Eddie eventually, Roger reveals that he could have gotten out of the handcuffs at any time.
Yeah.
Because he could just slip right out of them. But he waited until it would have been funny to do it. And it was.
It was funny.
Yeah. But Eddie saws the handcuff off him. The one that's stuck to him, he saws it off. And Judge Doom shows up at the bar. And he starts doing the shave and a haircut knock. The da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And Eddie's like, Roger, calm down. Roger's freaking out. Like, he's like, no, I gotta do it. And eventually breaks out from behind the speakeasy. And Judge Doom is like, all right, well, now I'm going to kill you. And he's got some dip there. And he's going to put Roger in the dip. Oh,
we are way far.
Yeah, I completely skipped the song that Jessica Rabbit sings. I'm sorry.
Does it really matter?
Well, it was well performed. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Did you give it a score?
No, I didn't really give it a score.
Oh, all right. That's fine. Ashley gives it an 8 out of 10, too.
Okay, 8 out of 10 as well.
But so, Judge Doom is going to kill Roger. Eddie's like, let him have one drink before you kill him. He's like, okay, that's fine. Eddie puts the alcohol in Roger's mouth. Roger freaks out, because that's what alcohol does to cartoons. Escapes. Eddie gets out of there. Knocks over the vial of dip, which Judge Doom backs up from very quickly. I don't know if you know.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Something that, I mean, you put together by this point that Judge Doom is the bad guy. And by this point, you're like, oh, he's also a cartoon.
Yeah.
But something that Christopher Lloyd did that I found out in the research before I started watching the movie, and I paid close attention to, was that he decided since he's a cartoon, he's never going to blink when he's on camera. And he didn't. And that's extremely impressive to have that
That's
level.
why he's extra creepy all the time.
Yeah, he doesn't blink a single time that he's on camera. Which some of the scenes that he's on, he's talking for like 2 or 3 minutes. Like, that's a long time to go without blinking. Evidently, the same I can't think of the actor's name, but the guy that played the T-1000 in Terminator 2 also did the same thing.
Oh.
He was like, no, he's a machine. He doesn't blink. Like, and so he never blunk the whole time that he was on camera either.
Fascinating.
Yeah, but Christopher Lloyd does that same thing here. And then they escape in Roger's friend, Benny the cab.
Benny the cab. I love Benny.
Which I wonder, do you think that's where Benny from Halloween Town gets his name from? Because he's the cab
probably.
driver? Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but they escape in Benny the cab, and I'm trying to remember what happens next. They're trying to find the will for
Acme.
Yeah.
Because he supposedly gave the toons control, like basically
gave them
Toontown.
Yeah.
So
and they're looking for that, and Eddie goes back to the guy that hired him to track down what was going on with Jessica Rabbit and everything, and he gets shot while Eddie's there. Don't know who it is, but it's Judge Doom that shot him. It's the only character that wears black gloves in the movie. And Eddie chases after him. Roger, meanwhile, gets knocked out by Jessica Rabbit and stuffed in her car, and they end up in the Toon world. Like, they go to Toontown, and Jessica saves Eddie from getting shot. Still don't know who it is, but it's Judge Doom. And Jessica reveals that it's... Oh, actually, this isn't where it gets revealed that it's Judge Doom.
Yeah, Jessica reveals that it's Judge Doom.
Yeah, and he's kidnapped Roger, if I remember correctly at this point. Like, Judge Doom gets a hold of Roger, and somehow gets a hold of Jessica, too, later on. I can't remember what happened in between, but he gets... Anyway, it climaxes, they're in this warehouse that's outside of Toontown, and Judge Doom reveals that he wants to destroy Toontown to build a freeway, because he bought, or he's going to buy the land at midnight.
And he just wants it to be, like, fully, like, basically, like... stripped down, like strip malls and
convenience stores.
Yeah. So he can make money off of.
Exactly. And he also reveals that he's the toon that killed Eddie's brother. This is where it gets revealed that he's a toon as well. And him and Eddie fight while Jessica and Roger hang in the balance because dip is being sprayed at them. And then Eddie does a little musical number of his own, which I tried to find out what the name of it was. The best I could come up with was that it was called "Kill 'Em with Laughter," sung by Bob Hopkins. It's not it's not a real song.
Yeah.
But I wrote that I like the adult humor in it because there's certain lines that he cuts off where he's going to say a very dirty word.
And then doesn't. Yes.
And I gave it a 6 out of 10.
All right. I'll give it a 6 out of 10 too. It was good. I did enjoy it.
But it literally kills the weasels. They laugh until they die.
I love that part that they laugh till they're dead.
Yeah, I guess that's why it couldn't be the 7 dwarves, really. But they could have maybe come around or something. Like, Eddie could have made their hearts grow 3 sizes that day or something. Get all the cartoons in here. But so Eddie stops Judge Doom by, destroying the vat that's shooting out the dip. It goes on Doom, kills him because he's a toon. And then the machine that he created to destroy Toontown gets destroyed by a train in Toontown. Jessica and Roger are okay. Like, Eddie lets them down, washes away all the dip, so that's gone now too. And that's pretty much it, basically. I'm trying to think of what else happens. They find earlier in the film Acme had sprayed Eddie with some disappearing ink. Turns out it's disappearing and reappearing ink, and that's where his will is written on a note that Roger had the whole time that he wrote a love note to Jessica on. It had Acme, and it gets revealed Toontown is for the toons, and they celebrate, and then they sing Smile Darn Ya Smile. It's performed by all the toons, and I wrote, could this movie end any other way? And I gave it a 6 out of 5.
Because the toons have to sing, so 6 out of 10.
Yeah, and then in the final closing moment, Porky Pig comes up with his "That's all, folks" line, and Tinkerbell does her little dot. Like, the two of them, he closes out Looney Tunes things by saying "That's all, folks," and Tinkerbell draws, and that's how the Disney movie ends. And that's all I have to say about that. I don't know. Is there anything else in the recap that? No,
not really. I mean, I think it's a very straightforward movie.
Yeah. Do you want to go into our overall scores then?
Sure, if you want to go first this time.
Okay. I wrote down, I've seen parts of this movie over the years, but never watched the entire thing from start to finish. I have to say that I liked it. It was, quote-unquote, cartoonish, for lack of a better term, but I think it worked. And I enjoyed the idea of of companies like Warner Brothers and Disney working together. Perhaps someday the CEOs of both companies will pull their heads out of their asses and do something like this again. And overall, I'm giving Who Framed Roger Rabbit an 8 out of 10.
I definitely think it's a well-written and pretty good movie. I liked it a lot. Yeah, you're right. I think that they should do something else again.
Yeah.
And
Marvel DC crossover. Just saying.
Yeah, let's have some cool things happen.
Yeah.
No, I think that would be cool. And I think it's cool that it happened here. Like, Chippendale's probably the closest thing we're going to get for a while. And that's not even all the way there either. But I would give this a 7 out of 10.
Okay. All right, well, with all that out of the way, this has been the Once Again Podcast. Any questions, comments, or critiques can be addressed to our email at onceagainpod@gmail.com. Follow us on our social media accounts, Once Again Pod, all one word, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you'd like to contribute to the podcast, we have several tiers available on patreon.com/onceagainpod. As always, a like, follow, or share would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, have a wonderful day, and remember, we will entertain you. We will always entertain you. And I just want to put a final note out there to the audience. We did Jane Eyre like this. We did
Great Mouse Detective like
Great
this.
Mouse Detective and Who Framed Roger Rabbit like this. Would you prefer us recapping it, like how we remember it, or do you want us to go back to the old format of me reading a summary and then us giving our notes about it? Because this is personally easier.
I just think this is more personable and better for like the conversations. Like,
Agreed.
if you don't like it, folks, you let us know.
Yeah,
We'll go back to what we were doing.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. And have a good day. Rumpelstiltskin always says that magic comes with a price. But for this price, you can get a nice piece of jewelry. Use code ONCEPOD for 10% off your first order at Unusual Magic Jewelry on Etsy. Click the link in the description.